The government of Uganda is in the process of securing funding worth $400 million from World Bank. Of this money, USD 50 million will be a grant and USD 350 million will be for a loan to be used towards scaling up access to electricity in rural areas. 1 million new customers living near areas that have institutions, markets, rural growth centers, existing trading centers and refugee hosting communities, among others, are to be connected to the national grid. However, on 13th November, State Minister of Energy, Simon Dujanga, wrote to the country manager World Bank on the proposed Energy Access Scale-Up project. In the letter, Dujanga stated that the Energy Ministry preferred that Rural Electrification Agency R.E.A. would only facilitate electricity access to only areas beyond a 1-kilometer footprint of Umeme-operated grid. The minister further complained that World Bank had met Parliament's Natural Resources Committee without government's representative contrary to the established procedures. There ensued a back-and-forth push between the ministry and Parliament over the push to have a private entity, Umeme, implement the $400 million project. This resulted in the project stalling. On 3rd December 2019, the chairperson of Natural Resources Committee, Dr. Kefa Chiwanuka, wrote to World Bank explaining why the project, which had started in 2018, had stalled. Section D read, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is preferring a model where money is given to utility companies, in particular Umeme, are to procure materials and make connections, and not the non-government entity with mandate R.E.A. This brought the entire project to a stalemate. Eventually, Cabinet decided in favor of R.E.A. to be the lead implementing agency for the project to avoid duplication of duties. This is said to have been the advent of all the infighting over R.E.A. According to Executive Director of Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, Julius Mukunda, entrusting the project to a private entity would have been problematic.
To decide and say, let Umeme now do the role of Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority. That would be catastrophic and dangerous for the country. That takes us to all the corruption scandal. Now, in this country, corruption is not, give and take. It becomes a syndicate. It becomes, you lobby to legislate an illegality.
Recently, President Museveni ordered police to prosecute and recover lost money from some R.E.A. officials accused of mismanaging funds and procuring poor quality materials like cables, poles, switches and transformers. 3 officials, including R.E.A. Deputy Executive Director Godfrey Werike, Project Manager John Tuliaje and Ishunga, were suspended recently. On 2nd March 2020, a whistleblower petitioned the Anti-Corruption Coalition Agency over the same matter. The police and IGG have also investigated this matter in 2018, but no action has ever been taken.
Right now, this is a test for the police to build public trust that indeed they can actually do what they're supposed to do and bring the culprits to book. I mean, they shouldn't allow to be compromised. Of course, we know that at times when police is investigating, they end up investigating people that are really, really loaded. But I think this is also time for the police to redeem its image.
Recently, the President ordered CIID Director Grace Akulo to investigate, prosecute and recover money lost. Some officials are alleged to have been extorting money from suppliers of different materials worth billions of shillings before giving them contracts.
We want to urge the President to steer the course to ensure that his directive of ensuring that monies are recovered from those who would have been found to have stolen our monies, the money should be recovered. The money should be recovered regardless of whichever forces come up. Because I mean, at times we know this is politics. So we want to ensure that the President actually abides by his same directives that he has actually given out.
Right Honorable Speaker, the misappropriation of the 8 million USD.
There are also allegations that the fights inside R.E.A. are taking on tribal undertones, with some groups mobilizing against the others in Parliament. On Thursday, the Minister of Energy, Mary Goretti Kitutu, will present a report to Parliament on what is happening in R.E.A.
I think it is really stooping too low, and I think it's an embarrassment for this Parliament. And if that is actually done, then I think as civil society we are going to end up mobilizing people to ensure that all those that would be in support of people that would have been implicated, we are going to ensure that we decampaign them in the respective regions where they're coming from. Because this is taxpayers' money. We're talking of improved service delivery. So we cannot compromise service delivery while playing tribal cards.
So what needs to be done?
My strongest point here is let us reform Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority. Let us reform it, but let us not weaken it. Because the challenge in this country is weakening institutions. When you weaken IGG, when you weaken CIDD, when you weaken, now I even heard that people want to have their separate standard agencies. When you begin to weaken those ones, you are weakening the whole government, you are weakening the whole system.
There is an ongoing audit conducted by KPMG East Africa on the mismanagement within the Rural Electrification Agency, particularly the usage of materials by the technical wing that is under investigation. Now, civil society activists are calling upon Parliament to continue playing its oversight role, but desist playing a tribal card. Sidil Ruhanga, NTV.